For someone who has written go-getter all over her face through working in sales for over a decade, the paradoxical concept of stop trying and you will get it was out of the realm of possibilities for me for the longest time. Personally, it initially seemed to me, quite frankly, as a sophisticated excuse to be lazy and to have no aspirations at all. But when I hit a plateau with always being on, always striving for more, and having reached goal after goal, I inexplicably started to feel depleted. Confused, I started digging deeper, and today I would like to share with you my findings. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and I help people become their authentic selves, live intentionally, and experience true wealth. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around and let's get started. We've probably all been there, at least everyone I know has experienced it, including myself. The more you try to fall asleep, the harder it becomes to actually sleep. No matter how hard you try or what kind of methods you come up with to finally drift off, it all seems pointless because the more difficult it becomes to reach dream well after all, right? Or perhaps you've had days off where the only thing you wanted to do was to unwind and relax. Yet you found yourself feeling even more stressed by trying so hard. Paradoxically, your efforts to try to relax created only anxiety and tension, making it harder to achieve a state of relaxation. So we're often taught that the more we put into something, the greater the reward, right? The more we grind, the more successful we will be. And yes, I've also bought into the idea at times. But can we actually apply this principle to every aspect of our life? Will doubling the volume of communication at work lead to a proportional increase in understanding? Will screaming twice as loud in an argument make you twice as right? Will exercising twice as long or twice as hard result in burning twice as many calories? Based on my personal experience, this statement actually has its limitations as it implies a linear relationship between effort and outcome, ignoring factors such as efficiency, privilege, luck, and systemic barriers. It can lead to feelings of guilt and inadequacy when you put in significant effort but do not achieve the desired outcome. You will then attribute failure solely to a lack of effort. I would bet that we've probably all experienced people trying so hard that it actually had the opposite effect and outcome in multiple areas of our lives. Like on a date when someone is trying so hard to impress you that it becomes uncomfortable and the only thing you want to do is run. Or a colleague at work who desperately seeks recognition, constantly boasting about their money and flaunting their Rolex as a symbol of success for succeeding sales targets, which makes you see them more as a fool than a source of inspiration. With all these examples provided, we can clearly observe the paradox. The harder you try, the further you will get from your desired outcome. This is also known as the backwards law, coined by the philosopher and author Alan Watts. Alan Watts is known for popularizing and interpreting the Taoist philosophy for a Western audience. Therefore, I found a great connection between the backwards law and Wu-Wei, a fundamental idea from ancient Chinese philosophy. Wu-Wei can be translated to non-action. It means letting things happen the way they happen, not how you want them to happen. It also means letting go of certain expectations and certain outcomes, to stop acting against the natural current of life. For example, athletes often experience Wu-Wei when they are in the so-called zone, fully focused and performing at their best. It's like when everything just clicks into place and they feel unstoppable. They're completely absorbed in what they are doing and time just seems to fly by. By training diligently and letting go of attachment to outcome during competition, they can perform at their peak. And if you're as much of a fan as I am of personal stories, then definitely stay tuned because at the very end, I will share my own personal story with the backwards law. Timing is a big deal when speaking about Wu-Wei. So let me tell you as a renowned planner that what happens in life often has little to do with what was originally planned. Things in their development are often just too unpredictable in the long run. But that does not mean that you have no say in what's going to happen, or that you should refrain from determining your course. It's not about being lethargic or passive. Wu-Wei at its core means aligning your actions with the nature of who you are, rather than just following a purely cognitive, outcome-oriented will. It's about making decisions intuitively, spontaneously, and purposefully by grasping the circumstances, waiting for the right moment, and using appropriate means. Sometimes it might even mean not doing anything, at least for now. Being able to wait patiently and with calmness to introduce your suggestions, ideas, products at the right time gives you better odds of success than jumping into action right away. It's adopting an attitude which trusts in oneself and the vital forces of life can naturally unfold to take the lead. Trust that the right decisions will be made and the right things will happen at the right time. That life, universe, God, source, your intuition, or however you want to call it, always confronts you precisely with what is conducive to your personal development at any given moment. For example, consider this YouTube channel. At this very moment, I have exactly 41 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you, and of course also everyone who is watching this video right now who hasn't subscribed. My growth so far has been very slow, and especially in the beginning, I didn't gain much traction on my videos. Would I love to create a big community with like-minded people who support each other and learn from each other? Absolutely. But do I have control over when this will happen or when this outcome will take place? No. The only thing I have control over are my thoughts or my actions. For example, creating YouTube videos weekly. So instead of forcefully trying to think of ways how I could grow my subscriber count or get new subscribers as quickly as possible, I focus on enjoying the process. I fully submerge into the experience of creating videos and learning new things that come with it. For example, editing videos, because it just gives me so much joy. I trust that my time will come in any way, shape, or form. However, I'm not forcing it. The minute I would start forcing it, I would lose my state of flow, pressure myself into doing more, which would result in plenty of negative feelings and work against me also in the long run. We often create the very conditions that prevent us from getting what we want when we desperately pursue our desires or cling tightly to attachments. According to Zen Buddhist ideology, every desire is an opportunity for suffering. So desire itself can be seen as one of the basic reasons why humans suffer. When you desire something, you naturally establish an expectation for it, and all the joy and positivity that could be disappears from it. It's like trying to catch a butterfly. If you chase after it too eagerly, waving your arms around wildly, you might scare it away. But if you're patient and calm, the butterfly might just come to you. I once read somewhere, you don't always get what you want, but you always get what you need. And I do think that there is a lot of truth in this statement. We tend to hold on to our desires and strive for them in the pursuit of happiness. However, when we release our attachment, we often receive what we truly need. It also means having to accept what life delivers to us, and then figure out what it means in respect to our own personal growth. As I mentioned previously, I've really had difficulties to incorporate these principles, especially when being in the go-getter mode for such a long time. So I've gathered some potential challenges and misunderstandings and their explanation with it to make the Taoist principle that helped me a bit more tangible. The feeling like you're not taking enough action. I think it's just natural to worry that Embracing the backwards law means just sitting back and not doing anything. However, it's about understanding when to act and when to let go, rather than being passive. The confusion about the concept of doing without doing, Wu-Wei. Wu-Wei doesn't mean total inaction. It's more about acting in harmony with the natural flow of things, without unnecessary force and resistance at the right time. It's more about effortless action than not doing nothing. The fear of losing control. Surrendering to the backwards law and the Taoist principles can feel like giving up control. But it's about trusting the process and letting things unfold organically, rather than trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives. The belief that striving for goals is pointless. The backwards law doesn't mean that you shouldn't have any goals or ambitions. It's about approaching them with a mindset of detachment and acceptance of whatever outcome may arise, rather than being overly fixated on the end result. Overcoming societal pressure to constantly hustle and grind. In a culture that glorifies busyness and productivity, it can be challenging to embrace the idea of doing less to achieve more. However, it's about finding balance and prioritizing what truly matters to you. Thinking that embracing the backwards law is giving up. Embracing the backwards law and Taoism isn't about resignation or defeat. It's about finding a more effortless and fulfilling way of living, aligning with the natural order of things and letting go of unnecessary resistance. So my boyfriend and I, we just had made up our minds and we wanted to go on an adventure and move to a different country again. But how do you do it? Where do you start? For my boyfriend, it was clear. He wanted to pursue his master's degree abroad. And for me, it was also clear. I wanted to focus on my career, keep on working, and live in a third country before I turned 30. We began mapping out countries that we always liked and that we could see ourselves living in. And the country we set our eyes on, after all, was Sweden. My boyfriend started researching for universities, their requirements, and applied to a few. And meanwhile, I was scouring the internet to look for job openings and also apply to a few jobs. We invested a lot of time and effort in researching, planning, and budgeting in preparation for our potential move to Sweden. We really wanted to make it work and toiled relentlessly to reach our goal. Unfortunately, despite all the job applications that I had sent out, I only received rejections. Giving it another round of attempts, I didn't even make it to the first interview. Similarly, after a few months, my boyfriend received only rejections from all the universities that he had applied to. We both felt defeated, discouraged, and dismissed the idea fully of ever moving to Sweden. Fast forward months later, out of the blue, my boyfriend actually received 2 acceptance letters from the universities in Sweden. We found out that if applicants are being offered a place to study and they actually do not accept it, a so-called succession procedure allocates the open spot to the next applicant on the respective list, which happened to be my boyfriend. And suddenly, doors also opened for me. I was creative and thought, well, I'm working remotely in the Netherlands right now and I'm crushing my sales targets, so why can I not keep on working remotely but from Sweden? So, long story short, I could take my job with me to Sweden and it all worked out. All initial obstacles suddenly disappeared. Sometimes things just fall into place when you stop trying. In a way, the backwards law is a reminder for me to embrace the paradoxes and contradictions in life, to let go of rigid expectations, and to approach my goals with a more open-minded perspective. Wu-Wei taught me that softening our grip on outcomes and allowing things to unfold naturally, we may paradoxically find greater success, fulfillment, or peace. I will be making more videos about how to become your authentic self and live intentionally to experience true wealth. So if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to this channel as well as hit the notification bell and join the community as it grows. So see you next time. Bye.